Hi everyone. So we are reviewing Engage New York Module 3, Lesson 2. And here we're talking about the distributive property. We've actually done this multiple times, but now we're just doing it with higher numbers. So what we're basically using the distributive property to do, it's actually two steps. The first step is to decompose one of the facts or factors of this equation. So step one is to decompose. And then step two is to distribute. Okay, so we're going to talk about how to do that in a moment. So let's first draw this equation right here. 7 times 8 equals what? Let's say we didn't know that, okay? You hadn't memorized it. So let's draw 7 rows, because 7 is my group. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And we're looking for the size is 8 in each of those groups. So my 8 is representing the columns. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. And I'm just counting 7 as I do this because I already have my 8 from the rows that I just drew. So now I have 7 groups of 8, okay? So that represents this whole array. Now, let's say, oh gosh, that's so tricky, we don't know. What we're going to do is we're going to decompose one of the factors, okay? So let's decompose the first factor. That means that we have to find 2 numbers that when they add up together are going to equal 7. Well, 7 is not even, so we can't do it equally. You could do, well, let's see. You could do 1 plus 7, but that would be, no, you couldn't actually. You could do 1 plus 6. There you go. That'd be tricky though, because 6 is still a pretty big number. You could do 2 plus 5. Aha, that one looks good to me because it's using one of our, our multiples of 5s. You could do 3 plus 4. And then, of course, 4 plus 3, 5 plus 2, 6 plus 1, but it's basically the repeat, the commutative property, folks, of those that you just wrote down. So, the distributive property, we have to decompose first, meaning we have to find 2 numbers that add up to one of those factors. Okay, so let's pick 2 plus 5 because our 5 facts they help us out, right? We know them. They're easy to count by 5. So 2 plus 5 is going to equal 7. So we're taking that 7 and we're decomposing it. We're breaking it apart and we're creating 2 separate equations. So our 2 goes here, our 5 goes there, and that equals 7. 2 plus 5 equals 7. Now we can put in the distributive portion of this, right? We're going to take whatever is left of that equation times 8, and we're going to distribute. We're going to say there's a little bit of a times 8 for you, and there's a little bit of a times 8 for you, because the size is not changing. Only the number of groups is changing, but the size is staying the same, okay? So let's go to this array right now and break down what we have so far. Let's create 2 groups of 8. So that is 2 times 8. And let's create 5 groups of 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of 8. Remember that 8 does not change. 5 groups of 8. Okay. So you have that 7 times 8. We've kept the size of the group the same, but we have broken apart the number of groups into 2 easier sections, 2 easier equations. And now let's solve for the equations. So 2 times 8, we're dropping it down here, okay? 2 times 8 we know is 16, and we're going to drop down the addition sign plus, and 5 times 8. Since you should know your 5 facts and you can count easily by 5s, we know that 16 plus 5 times 8 is 40. So now you have 16 plus 40. We're going to drop that down. We have to answer the final equation, right? So 7 times 8 equals 16 plus 40. Here's your 16. Here's your 40. When you add those two parts of that array together, you equal 7 times 8, the total amount in the array. So 16 plus 40 is 56. So total here is 56. So 7 times 8 equals, boom, 56. But let's just say for a second, right? Let's just say that you didn't choose 2 times 5 to decompose that 7 into, right? Let's say you chose a different. As I said, 1 plus 6, you could do that, but 6 is still a pretty big number, so we're going to try and just make it easier for us, right? So let's cross this one out. Let's try the 3 times 4. I keep on saying that. Man, oh man. Very early this morning. So 3 plus 4. Because when you distribute, you have to decompose first. You have to find two numbers that when they add together are going to equal that 7, that first factor, okay? So we add 3 and 4. So you're going to take that one big equation and you're going to make it into two smaller equations, and we're going to add those up together. So now 7, we've decomposed 7 into 3 and 4. So put your 3 there, your 4 there. 3 plus 4 is 7, okay? So you've taken care of that first factor. Let's distribute that 8. So we're saying, okay, well, I'm going to give you a little bit of times 8, and I'm going to give you a little bit of times 8. And these two easier equations, when they add up together, are going to equal the same answer as 7 times 8. So let's draw this array. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I feel like I'm counting a dance number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. 7 times 8. Watch how I'm labeling this array. That's the total. I need to break it apart into two smaller sections. 3 times 8, 1, 2, 3, 3 groups of 8. 8 stays the same. It's the size. We're just making the group numbers smaller. So you're adding 3 times 8 plus, so here's 3 times 8, and here's 4 times 8. So the answer to this plus the answer to this is going to give you the answer to 7 times 8. So let's solve, okay? So 3 times 8 is 24, and 4 times 8 is 32. Now when you get something like this, especially on an exam, please, please, please don't do it in your head. If you do it in your head, then please double check it using the addition algorithm, okay? Because you could go, okay, well that's 6 and that's, okay, so it's 56. But if you just double check it, especially on a quiz or a test, that way, that's gonna just make sure you put the correct answer down. Okay, so 24 plus 32 equals 56. So 7 times 8 equals 56. And that's your 24, and that's your 32. Add them together, it gives you the answer. So this is a reminder of the distributive property, right? You first have to decompose one of the factors, and then you distribute the other factor to the two numbers that you decomposed. It's a lot of words, but if you look here, it's basically you're taking a whole equation, you are breaking it apart, but you're keeping the size the same. Okay, good luck.